Hello, this is Teacher Alfred. This lesson video is intended for those students who are preparing for the IELTS exam. Generally, people pronounce it as IELTS, while others pronounce it as IELTS. Whatever it is, IELTS means International English Language Testing System. So I hope that in this video you will learn something and somehow I could help you get higher score in the IELTS, or for those who have taken it already, improve your IELTS score in your next test attempt. So if you're ready, then we'll start. All right. So again, my name is Alfred B. Caaminio Jr., your online IELTS trainer. Basically, there are 4 skills to be tested in the IELTS: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. I don't need to discuss each of these anymore because my focus among these skills is the writing section. Why? Because I am pretty aware that many students struggle in the writing section of the test. So let me talk about this first. And on that note, I'm gonna talk about the general IELTS writing tips. These are tips for you to follow. And if you follow these, or if you practice these, most likely you will get good scores or high scores in the IELTS examination. Let's start the ball rolling. Number 1, practice test topics. You know already, right? There are 2 tasks in IELTS writing test. So in IELTS task 1 of the writing test, you need to get used to interpret graph, table, map, and diagram. You are pretty aware that in task 1, you need to describe these 4: graphs, tables, maps, diagrams that shows numbers, lines, and I will make a video about this to guide you how to write or describe or interpret the graph, table, map, diagram. It's like how to put them into words and into paragraphs. So watch out for my next video. In IELTS Task 2, you need to learn to be effective in expressing an opinion, balancing an argument, and suggesting solutions to a problem. Because for the Task 2, your ability to reason, your ability to express your thoughts or views about a certain topic or problem will be tested in this particular exam. Here, you need to use vocabulary, as wide range of vocabulary as you could, so that they could measure how good your English skill is on the writing respect, because we are talking here about the writing section of the IELTS test part, right? So that's number 1. You need to practice. You know, practice makes perfect. So I hope you do it right. But don't you worry again, because for the next video, I'm gonna help you how to write task 1 and task 2. Number 2, write planning. In whatever we do, it is important that we start with a good plan and we do it the right way. So you start with brainstorming ideas and organize the best ones. What do we mean by brainstorming? I have shown you here an example. Like for example, your topic is water. So you brainstorm within yourself, like look for ideas. What are ideas, or what thoughts come into your mind when you hear the word water? Like you say, water is life, from one place to another, transportation, nature, life, flowing waves, H2O, molecules, particles, sea, ocean, solid, gas, liquid, direction. These are some possible ideas that would come in your mind when you hear the word water. Put them together. I write them down on the paper and then put them together so that you can come up with your outline. So it is also important that you know how to use learning organizers. This one that I have shown you here is an example of a learning organizer. You can Google out like what are the different learning organizers to help you organize your thoughts. Because out from this learning organizer or output, you are going to organize your ideas, put together the best ones. So you could lay down an outline. Okay, so let's look at this outline. You need to write down what are you supposed to write first as your introduction. Second, in your first point, then under your first point, what are the details? What are the supporting ideas you're going to talk about in that point? Second point, then your supporting details. Third point, until you reach your conclusion or the most impactful part of your write-up. Right planning is very important. In all big buildings, they always start with the right plan, right? Number 3, review grammar rules. I understand grammar is a very long topic in English. We've learned that in school for like 10 years of our lives, 8 years of our lives. So which part you should focus on? The simple and progressive verb forms. Why? Because in interpreting graphs in part 1 and in expressing opinions in part 2, use the simple present form. Again, regarding this topic, I'm going to talk about how you write these sentences in my next lesson videos. So watch out for more lesson videos about IELTS lesson. Number 2, passive voice. Review your grammar, I told you, right? To sound more formal and impersonal in describing data from graphs, tables, maps, or diagrams. That's in task 1, right? Remember, in task 1, we do not need, or the people who are checking your write-ups do not need your own opinion. Just have to describe the data from the graphs, tables, maps, and diagrams. Put them into writing, okay? So you should not sound too personal on your writing. You should sound formal instead. Number 3, the modal verbs, the use of could, might, may. This is important to express degree of certainty in giving opinions to a topic or suggesting solutions to a problem. Like, what if you will come across a certain question or topic wherein they need your opinion, they need you to choose an option. Like, for example, um, treating the patients or killing them. Those who are diagnosed positive with a COVID-19. That's just an example per se. So in that particular topic, you need to use modal verbs in your write-up. Okay, so that is important to express degree of certainty. How sure are you? Okay, so that you would sound convincing in your writing, or you would sound more effective in your writing. And number 4, comparing adjective. This is very useful in explaining data from graphs or when balancing an argument. What if you are faced with arguments? So you have to compare situations, you have to compare personalities, or you have to compare graphs or the data from graphs. So you need comparing adjectives. Review the rules on these particular topics because most likely they are very useful in the writing section yeah, of the IELTS part of the writing section of the IELTS test. And number 4, what are the skills to develop? In task 1, describing and explaining the data, describing the stages of a process, describing how something works, and describing an object or event. If you notice, all these says describing. So task 1 is not about your personal thoughts, it's not about your own opinion. It's about what the graph says, what the data say. So you just have to put them into writing, interpret them. In task 2, you respond to a point of view, react to an argument or problem, give easy to understand conclusions. Remember in task 2, this will measure how witty you are to give your own reaction or point of view or perspective about the topic or problem being asked from you. Okay, so you have to be creative in writing the task 2 of the test. And number 5, tip, time and word limits. For the timing, as you practice writing at your homes or wherever, it is important that you set the timer on your practices. For task 1, You should be strict in imposing the 20-minute rule when you write. Do not cheat, okay? Because honesty is the best policy. And in task 2, write in 40 minutes. Do not go beyond it. Try to maximize 40 minutes to be able to come up with a good write-up. And in the word count, you follow the rules on the right word counting. For task 1, at least 150 to 180 words. This must be the maximum and the minimum. 150 words, then a maximum of 180 words. For task 2, a minimum of 250 words. Do not write lower than it, and not more than 300 words. There are rules to follow in counting the words. I'm gonna make a video for that in my next videos. All right, so these are my sources. I hope you understood. For questions, you may send private messages to me, or you may write it down in the comment box below. And always remember this, take your skills to the next level. If you think that you aren't good enough, then take your skills to the next level. If you think you're already a good writer, take your skills to the next level. Always challenge yourself to do more. Thank you so much for spending time to watch my video. If you like it, feel free to subscribe and share with your friends. Thank you and bye-bye.